because it appeared as though they were babbling. Yahuwah then scattered mankind throughout all the earth, throughout all the earth. But when they scattered, they took the worship of Nimrud, Semiramis, and Tammuz. And so when they went to different lands, they gave Nimrud different names. They gave Semiramis different names. They gave Tammuz different names. In some lands, Nimrud was called Zeus. In other lands, he was called Malak. In some lands, he was called Baal. In other lands, he was called Gudon. In Semiramis, in some lands, she was called Isis. In some lands, she was called Diana. In some lands, she was called Easter and Estra. Some lands, she was Ostrus. Tammuz in some lands was called by the name of Tammuz. In other lands, he was called by Bacchus. In some lands, he was called Adonis. Different lands, different names, same deities. So December 25th is the birthday of Nimrud. It is the birthday of Nimrud because Saturnalia and Santa and Malak are all representations of Nimrud. Different lands, different names. They're all representatives of Nimrud. So in the grand scheme of things, they all represent Nimrud. And overall scheme of things, it is Hashatan, whose name is Mastema, who's getting the worship through Nimrud as the sun. But Saturnalia, Baal, and Malak, and Zeus, etc., these are all Nimrud. December 25th, on the winter solstice, in which most of the world just partook in. And when the sun starts to reappear, thus it is the resurrected and reborn. Tammuz is worshipped as the resurrected Nimrud. So Nimrud worshiped ultimately, but Tammuz is worshipped, the resurrected Nimrud. So Santa, Satan, is also Tammuz. It is also Tammuz, the resurrected Nimrud. Nimrud is also worshipped on the day of the sun, on which you call Sun Day, the first day of the week, as Tammuz, the resurrected Nimrud. The cruce or cross that most Christians hold so dearly is the symbol of the cruce, the cross. It goes back thousands of years, and it always represents the sun worship, as it represents the sun crossing the sky at different seasons and at different equinoxes. In the world before turning to the truth, I had got this tatted on me multiple times, and I was vexed and I felt bad. But Yahuwah reminded me how this wicked flesh, it don't profit nothing. Now I would never again, because that was lawlessness and sin, but Yahuwah had compassion on me. So being reborn again, not of flesh nor of blood, but by the Ruach HaKodesh from above, reminded me how much love and compassion Yahuwah had on me. I'm so grateful. Barak Yahuwah. Yahushua HaMashiach was executed on a stake, meaning the upright pole, not a cruce. Research these things. Research it out. Don't perish for lack of knowledge. If you are a Christian listening, you see, Satan, Hashatan, wants to be like Yahuwah. And he wants to exalt his throne above Yahuwah and have mankind worship him as the sun. The sun is a representation of the eternal light, which is Yahuwah. It's not Yahuwah, but it is a representation. We are not to worship the sun like pagans and heathens do. We are to worship Yahuwah alone in Ruach and in truth. But nevertheless, the sun is a representation of the eternal light. And Hashatan, Satan, wants to be worshipped as the eternal light. And he is getting that worship through our religion, because our religion is ultimately directly or indirectly through the pagan holidays that most people regard during this season. So putting your children on the lap is symbolic of sacrificing your children to the abominable sun deity Malak, burning them alive on his lap. It is no difference. It's just being dressed up pretty in makeup to make it look like something other than what it actually is. But it is still idolatry. It is still wickedness. Wickedness. A day full of magic and sacrifice. Yes, sacrifice. That day is a day of human sacrifice among the occult community. It is a day of human sacrifice and the drinking of blood and the eating of human flesh. They still sacrifice babies on that day, on the lap of that demon deity Malak, that are both Asherah trees, or which paying homage to the Queen of Heaven, or the mother goddess of Astra. They are both Asherah trees. The witch's hat, however, although it is called the cone of power, a witch's hat is another representation of an Asherah tree. They call it the cone of power because Asherah worship is fertility worship. It is the worship of sex magic, prominent within the witch community. They worship sex. They bow down to the mother goddess whose symbol is a vagina symbol that you put on the back of your car as Christians. That you've been told is a fish. It is not a fish. It's a vagina. It is a symbol of the mother goddess. They receive demonic power from sex magic. Thus, it is called the cone of power. See, here's a parallel. The tinsels on the tree represent semen, male semen, the seed, male seed. The round ornaments represent testicles, and the round wreath that you put on your tree represents a woman's vagina. Represents a woman's vagina. By the way, the Christmas wreath that you put on the outside of your door, made from the wood of the holly tree, is made from the wood of the holly tree. Hence, the lyrics from deck the halls with boughs of holly. But what you may not understand is the holly tree is believed to have magical properties by witches and warlocks. Thus, they make their wands from the wood of the holly tree. Supposedly, that wreath supposedly give them power to command wicked spirits. See, this is the tradition. This is why they tell you to put it on your doors, because supposedly has magic properties and it gives them the power or authority to command wicked spirits during this season. The little red berries that you see that are within the wreath, these are also from the holly tree, and they are poisonous and toxic, and witches use them to put magic potions. This is also why Hashatan, the movie making capital of the world, is named Hollywood, because satanic spells and incantations are being cast from that wicked place. Demons are traveling through your television waves and coming directly into your living room or your cell phones from that wicked place. Nevertheless, to think that some of you good Christian folks who are listening to this video have been voluntarily putting up an erected male penis pointing upwards towards Saturnalia, paying homage to the sun, ignorantly all these years. Want to know something else? That Asherah tree, that erect male penis, that cone of power that sits in your living room, that you have your children bowing down to, picking gifts up from, and you bowing down to that erect male penis, you bowing down to that Asherah tree. You want to know what else? It also is called the image of jealousy that Yahuwah hates. It is also called the image of jealousy that Yahuwah hates. Ezekiel, the 8th chapter, the 5th verse read, and he said to me, Son of man, please lift your eyes toward the north. And I lifted my eyes northward, and north of the slaughter place gate I saw the image of jealousy in the entrance. This is an Ashtoreth. Ashtoreth worship and sun worship go hand in hand. Why do they go hand in hand? Because again, Nimrod is getting worship, ultimately Hashatan, through religion. Nimrod goes by many names. He goes by many names. That Ashtoreth tree that you are worshiping, that you place in your living room, is a representation of Semiramis. Sun worship, infertility worship always go hand in hand, because it symbolizes husband and wife coming together in an act of sex. And so many of you who are students of scriptures, and we are getting ready to read some more understanding, that during this time of our captivity, Babylon, that Yahuwah had given a vision to show him what we were doing in Jerusalem. And this was before the Babylonians had destroyed the temple, where some of the first ones were being taken into Babylonian captivity before the Hekel was destroyed. And so Yahuwah had given him a vision of what was going on in the Hekel. And one of the things that was going on with our people is that they were worshiping the sun, and they were worshiping Ashtoreth in the groves, and on every high hill they were worshiping these pagan deities. And after many days it came to be that the word of Yahuwah came to all Yahu in the 3rd year, saying, Go present yourself to Ahab. And I gave rain on the earth. Thereupon all Yahu went to present himself to Ahab. And the scarcity of food in Shemaron was severe. And Ahab had called Abiyahu, who was over his house. Now Abiyahu feared Yahuwah exceedingly. And it came to be, while Isabel or Jezebel cut down the prophets of Yahuwah, that Abiyahu had taken 100 prophets and hidden them, 50 to a cave, and had fed them with bread and water. And Ahab had said to Abiyahu, Go into the land to all the springs of water, and to all the wadis, and it could be that we find grass to keep the horses and the mules alive, and not have any livestock cut off. And they divided the land between them to pass over it. Ahab went one way by himself, and Abiyahu went another way by himself. And as Abiyahu was on his way, then see, all Yahu met him. And he recognized him and fell on his face and said, Is that you, my master, all Yahu? And he answered him and said, It is I. Go, say to your master, All Yahu is here. And he said, What have I sinned that you are giving your servant into the hand of Ahab?